Hello people of YouTube, my name is Steve Gray and thanks for watching. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you know when I'm creating new content, leave a like and feel free to comment down below. So in today's video we're going to be talking about buying used guitar amps, more specifically tube amps, but amps in general, tube heads, tube combos, we can do solid state too, why not? Literally, was it yesterday? It was yesterday. I went and bought myself a Carvin MTS 3200 head. It is either a 50 watt or a 100 watt head. It's got four, I believe it is 12A7 tubes, and then it's got 5 preamp tubes. And it's a pretty nice amp. I'll be honest, it's a nice amp. Sounds pretty decent. But little did I know there was a problem with it, or something happened to it in the process of me bringing it from the guy's place of work back to my home. So basically what I did is I used, for testing it, I used a 1x15 bass speaker because he didn't have a 4x12 there for me to test it, unfortunately. And I didn't want to bring my big old hefty 4x12 in the background over there. I can't really fit it in my car too much per se. I more need a truck or a bigger vehicle. My car isn't really big enough to fit that in there, unfortunately. So I brought my 115 and I basically played it at bedroom volumes. Now, there wasn't anything wrong with it. Everything seemed to be working fine, 100%. The guy was a super nice guy, excellent dude, no problems. He said if I had any problems, give him a call or text him, which he was super nice about, and I'll get into in a second. But everything seemed to work fine. He threw in a pedal board, threw in some cables, threw in a couple of pedals, and I got a pretty good deal on it. I got everything for, I think it was $180, $200, somewhere in that price range. But everything was a very reasonable price range. And as I've said before, sometimes when it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. This particular gentleman actually had shoulder issues, so he was getting rid of all of his guitar stuff in general. But basically, somehow, with me playing a louder volume when I did finally plug it into the 4x12, there's some sort of issue with the one transformer inside of the amp. I looked at the tubes, did the pencil test. Basically, if you have a pencil like this, and you basically just gently tap on the tubes, it's usually the, not the preamp tubes, the power tubes that have issues. The preamp tubes typically last like between 1 year and forever. But typically it's the power tubes that have issues. No issues there. And then I noticed when I press down a little bit on the one transformer, the buzzing sound that it's making while it's on standby goes away. So it shouldn't be a major fix from what I talked to my amp guy, because I personally don't mess with amps. Also going into amps, do not mess with tube amps, specifically tube amps or any type of guitar amp, unless you know what you're doing, because there are transformers in there and there is potentially deadly voltage in there, and obviously if you mess up or touch something you shouldn't, didn't ground something, you are going to die. So better leave it off to the professionals, or maybe get taught by a professional how to go about working on your own tube amp. I personally don't do it because I'm afraid of dying. If it's a guitar, there's not enough deadly voltage in it, so I will mess around with that a little bit, but otherwise, yeah. So this is actually the second time that I kind of got screwed over on an amp. The first time was when I actually bought my 4x12 cab. It came with a PV Valve King head, and I also, ironically, bought that for $180. The cab itself is worth probably $150 to $200, somewhere in that range, and the head was worth about $200. When I got there, I knew the head was not working when I got there, which is why I offered him, because I think he was asking like $300, and I was like, look, I'll take both of them for $180, and if there's a problem with the head, it'll be my ass, not yours. And for whatever reason, I cannot get that head to work. I've had the amp tech have it for a very long time, and there's something completely wrong with the amp, so I got myself a boat anchor, basically, at this point. So what you want to do is, if you ever have an amp, obviously know exactly what you're buying. If it is broke, don't get into it too much. Say you found like a Marshall JCM 2000 or something, friggin' $1,000 head. If it is broke, don't get it for more than you're willing to lose. So if you're willing to put $100 towards it to see if somebody can fix it up for maybe $200-300, and then you can sell it for $1,000, make $500 profit, just be aware there is a 50-50 chance that you're going to lose your money and lose your ass on it. That's pretty much with all used gear. You never know what you're getting. So what I highly recommend, more for guitar amps than guitars themselves, is go to a mom and pop shop type situation, or Guitar Center, order online new. Try to stay away from the used market. As I said, it is kind of hit or miss. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. You never know what you're going to get. As I said, sometimes the deal is just too good to be true, and that's all there is. Guitars, feel free to buy them used from anybody, because worst comes to worst, you got a $30 fix, and as long as you know how to look down the neck and make sure it's not warped, it's really not that big an issue. Worst comes to worst, you got to rip out the electronics, put new electronics in it, and it's usually no more than $100 to get that guitar up and running and ready to go. So, I hope this was a nice informative video for you guys. My name is Steve Gray. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good one.